Hello and good afternoon, everyone. You are watching our Thursday update from Amhara Media Corporation English, broadcasting live from the regional capital, Bahar Dar, Ethiopia. And I'm Johannes Lejalem with the news. The 44th Ordinary Session of the Executive Council of the African Union kicked off in the capital, Addis Ababa. During the occasion, Ethiopian Foreign Minister Taye Asqeselase proposed the inclusion of Amharic as the official language of the Union. Modemulye has compiled this report.
The 44th Ordinary Session of the Executive Council of the African Union kicked off in Addis Ababa. During the occasion, Ethiopia's Foreign Minister Taye Asqeselase proposed the inclusion of Amharic as the official language of the Union. The Foreign Minister mentioned that the requisition is presented in alignment with the African Union Agenda 2063 and the goal for empowering indigenous African languages to contribute for the continent's progress.
In alignment with the AU Agenda 2063 and the goal for empowering indigenous African language to contribute to our continent's progress, I wish to propose the inclusion of Amharic as the official language of the African Union.
The Foreign Minister reminded the Executive Council of the Union that formerly the Organization of African Unity, or OAU's charter, was initially signed in 4 languages, including Amharic. Including indigenous languages as an official language would possibly help the Union's efforts to withdraw from mind colonialism and to exercise and rely upon African solutions for African problems.
It is worth noting that the OAU Charter was initially signed in 4 languages, including Amharic. Adopting Amharic as one of the official languages of the Union would honor Africa's linguistic diversity and strengthen our collective identity as Africans. Amasagnalo.
Studies indicated that having different working and official languages is important for promoting inclusivity, preserving cultural diversity, facilitating communication, enhancing representation, and promoting multilingualism and education. Ethiopian scholars suggest that Amharic language is more efficient and economical than other non-indigenous languages such as English and Latin, as Amharic saves time and space when written, for it doesn't use consonants and vowels side by side.
It is better to preserve and transfer the letters obtained from our forefathers having their appropriate sound, meaning and way of writing. This is because the ancient history and wisdom of people relies on letters. Therefore, extensive researches should be conducted to teach the letters and the language for anyone who is interested to learn, keeping its accurate sound, representation, meaning and source.
ከነትክክለኛ ምንጫቸው አመጣጡና ከነትክክለኛ የፊደላቱ ትርጉም መሰጠት መቻል አለበት.
Amharic is the second most spoken Semitic language in the world after Arabic. Having its own writing system called Fidel, it stands the third most spoken language in Africa next to Hausa and Swahili. Amharic is also considered the best documented of the Ethio-Semitic languages and the official working language of the country.
Ethiopian Chief of Staff Field Marshal Birhanu Jula received and held a discussion about the ways of further strengthening cooperation with his Italian counterpart, Admiral Giuseppe Cavo Dragon. Birhanu Yisma has the details of this story.
The 2 officials have also discussed and exchanged views on the security challenges that the Horn of Africa region is currently facing. Chief of Staff Field Marshal Birhanu Jula accorded a warm welcome to his Italian counterpart, Admiral Giuseppe Cavo Dragon, and his entire delegation. During the occasion, Chief of Staff Field Marshal Birhanu Jula said that Ethiopia and Italy have a special and unique relationship that dates back a long time. Field Marshal Birhanu stated that these days this friendship and historical ties are flourishing to the highest level ever, he underscored. In this fast evolving environment, Ethiopia and Italy are on the right track to work together through formulating mutual cooperation that reflects the dynamics and the need of the region. He applauded the remarkable support of Italy when Ethiopia needed assistance, the Chief of Staff said, and added, Italy has special place in the hearts and minds of our people and the Ethiopian Defense Force, since your contribution and support were immense and unforgettable during the hard times. Italian Chief of Staff Admiral Giuseppe Cavo-Dragon said on his part that the frequent visit of the two countries is fostering the existing good relationship. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni have already put directions, and this is the continuation, he said, and added, we need to make things happen. This has to be translated into effective and practical implementation on the ground, Admiral Giuseppe Cavo added.
The importance of the visit from our standpoint is just following the multiple occasions that your Prime Minister with our Prime Minister had. So this is just a follow-on, and we need to make things happen now, because we got direction from our leadership, and now we need to put that into effective events. What will this event be? More cooperation, increased formation, capacity building, and I would like to say on both sides it will be a two-way experience. We will try to give what is in our capability to share with the Ethiopian Armed Forces. We will get something from your experience, and that will be golden payback for us too.
The Italian Chief of Staff pointed out that his country's readiness to cooperating in artificial intelligence, cybersecurity and cognitive warfare.
In the next middle future is an increased cooperation in capacity building, in all that new field that also we in Italy are experiencing, like in artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, cognitive warfare, anything which new, which we will be called to act and to operate in the future. I foresee formation here in Ethiopia or there in Italy. We already have students in our academies, in our schools. We will increase the number.
Speaking of the return of Sahai, the first aircraft built in Ethiopia in 1935, Admiral Giuseppe Cavo said that this is the result of the fruitful diplomatic engagement between the two countries' top leaders.
Foreign ministers of African countries and other dignitaries attending the 44th Ordinary Council session of the African Union in Addis Ababa have visited the Adwa Victory Memorial Museum. Ambassadors from various countries and representatives of the international community residing in the capital city also visited the memorial earlier. It was learned that the Minister of Foreign Affairs organized the visit with the aim of strengthening Pan-Africanism. The diplomats were amazed by the grandeur and the symbolism embodied and artistically built 127 years after the victory of Adwa. The victory of Adwa delivered into historical significance, playing a critical role in African history that resonated deeply with the global fight against colonialism and oppression, thereby solidifying Pan-Africanism. The visitors said that they have gained deeper understanding of the values of unity, resilience, self-determination that continue to underpin Ethiopia's national identity. Foreign Minister Taye Asqassalasse finally hosted dinner to foreign ministers and other dignitaries. Foreign Affairs Minister Taye Asqassalasse underlined the commitment of Ethiopia to working closely with countries of the sub-region to enhance stability, infrastructural connectivity and economic integration. Faivan Nasa.
The 44th Ordinary Executive Council session of the African Union opened at its headquarters, and it will be followed by the 37th heads of state and governments of AU member states from 17 to 18 February 2024. In his opening speech, Taye appreciated the African Union peace and security architecture in its endeavors for creating a center to the success of African solution to the African challenges. The foreign minister underlines that the architecture must continue serving as the foundation of promoting sustainable peace and security in Africa. The minister stated, Ethiopia has repeatedly proved its firm stand for African solution to African problems. In this case, the minister mentioned his country's commitment to ending a 2-year war in northern Ethiopia and reached agreements through the AU-led peace initiative in Pretoria, South Africa. In this case, the minister mentioned his country's commitment to ending a 2-year war in northern Ethiopia and reached agreements through the AU-led peace initiative in Pretoria, South Africa. The Pretoria agreement that ended the conflict in northern Ethiopia shows Ethiopia's commitment to African solution and the African Union's ability to deliver peace. The government of Ethiopia continues to work with the African Union and the Monitoring and Verification Compliance Mission to consolidate peace. Ambassador Taye further stated that the inclusive national dialogue process will contribute to further consolidate stability. The minister said, most importantly, Ethiopia is determined to work closely with countries of our sub-region to enhance stability, infrastructural connectivity and economic integration. He added Ethiopia is encouraged with the operationality of the African Union Peace Fund and calls on member states to show commitment for its sustenance. Foreign Minister Taye also urged Africa to strive for a reformed United Nations Security Council and work with determination to implement the much-awaited resolution on financing peacekeeping operations in Africa.
Foreign Affairs Minister Taye Asqasilase said that the government of Ethiopia has prioritized investment over the past 5 years to enhance quality education. Burhan Workanah has the details of this story.
The 44th Ordinary Executive Council session of the African Union opened here at the headquarters in Addis Ababa. The two-day meeting will be followed by the 37th Head of States and Governments of African Union member states from 17 to 18th of February under the theme of Educate on African Feet for the 21st Century, Building Resilient Education Systems for Increased Access to Inclusive, Lifelong, Quality and Relevant Learning in Africa. In his keynote address to the session, Taye said the African Union theme for the year 2024 resonates deeply with the expectation of people across the continent for progress and development. Taye stated that the theme also underscores the urgent need to build a resilient education system that provides increased access, adding it also aspires to promote exclusivity, respond to lifelong education and ensure education for all children in Africa. Speaking on Ethiopia's enormous reform on the education sector, the foreign minister revealed that the government of Ethiopia has prioritized investment to enhance quality education.
Through our nationwide school feeding programs, feeding over 6 million students daily, we have ensured participation and witnessed the positive impacts education can have on the lives of our people.
Through a deliberate policy intervention, the minister elaborated that the government increased public boarding schools and remote learning centers, thereby enhancing inclusive and quality education. In this respect, Taye stressed the need for working together tirelessly, critical to ensure that every child in Africa can have access to education. Taye also urged all member states to join hands with the African Union Commission in launching the theme and continue advocating for an agile, resilient and transformational education system. Turning his focus to Africa's development aspirations, the foreign minister underscored that the African Union's closer participation with the G20 is indeed essential. According to Taye, participation in the African Union as G20 would provide us with a unique platform to contribute to global economic governance and decision-making.
Participation of the African Union at the G20 would provide us with a unique platform to contribute to global economic governance and decision. We must therefore ensure that the voice of Africa is heard, that our participation is meaningful.
The minister also went to mention the BRICS, which is instrumental in advancing South-South cooperation.
Ethiopia will certainly leverage its BRICS membership with other sisterly African countries to further advance the shared interest of our continent and strengthen global governance and multilateralism.
Noting that Africa undoubtedly has immense potential for economic prosperity, the successful implementation of Agenda 2063 is our collective aspiration. Taye said the strong political will and determination, effective coordination and robust partnership among member states as well as regional economic communities are vital to realize the agenda.
You are watching the news from Amara Media Corporation English. As we proceed to news beyond borders, the United Nations chief said that the combined impact of climate chaos and food crisis is increasing threats to global peace. Speaking at the United Nations Security Council in New York, Antonio Guterres said that climate disasters have a negative impact on the food production, which kindles social unrest. The global food crisis is creating a hellscape of anger and heartache of many of the world's poorest people. And the climate crisis is accelerating with a deadly force, and last year was the hottest ever. Guterres added that both of these factors undermine peace. Empty bellies fuel unrest. In Portugal, we have a saying, in a house with no bread, everyone argues, but no one is right. Guterres urged the United Nations Security Council to address the impact of food shortage and the rising prices on the international peace and security, saying climate and conflict are the two leading drivers of global food crisis, as reported by Africa News. British military think tank reported that amid Israel war on Gaza and the conflict in Ukraine, global defense spending increased by 9% last year to a record $2.2 trillion last year. In its annual report, the International Institute for Strategic Studies said that the current situation in several regions of the world has created a highly volatile security environment, and it's expected to budgets to increase further in 2024. The International Institute for Strategic Studies also mentioned the growing unease in the Arctic, North Korea's pursuit of nuclear weapons, concerns over China, and the rise of military regimes in the Sahel region of Africa. The report pointed that the current military security situation heralds what's likely to be a more dangerous decade, characterized by a brazen application by some of military. Overall, the United States remains the largest global military spender by far, with a budget of $905.5 billion in 2023, with China in second place on $219.5 billion and Russia at third, as reported by Africa News. This is all we have for today. Thank you for staying with us, and have a great afternoon with the rest of Amara Media Corporation English program.